Welcome, everyone. We are live. It's Wednesday. Um, Neville Goddard always spoke about living from the end because a lot of people think that we somehow it's magical or, you know, manifestation is this big hoo ha, roo, boo, rah, rah, whatever. But if you pay attention, you will see that you always live from the end, which means you always know. You always know. And you do it naturally, right? You know how people say, allegedly. Yeah, well, naturally is how we live. So today I'm just going to give you examples of how we live from the end naturally. You plant your garden. How do you decide? Well, you plant your garden based on what you want to eat. That's living from the end because you say, oh, I want cherries in the yard. I want raspberries in the yard. I want because you want apples in the yard, so you plant. You plant squash because that's what you want. You planted watermelon because you said it would be nice to have watermelon this year. And so you go out and you get the seeds and you plant because you saw the end. You said, this is what I want. Naturally. And you saw it. Naturally. You go to the seamstress, because I grew up with a seamstress. I had a seamstress. She would make my school uniforms or my grandmother's dresses. My grandmother would tell her what she wanted that dress to look like. And she'd do the measurements, and the dress would be there. Because my grandmother told her what she wanted the dress to look like. It was from the end. Here's what the dress should look like. That's not the beginning, it's the end. Because then everything flows to bring that end to fruition. Same thing for school. Pardon me. Same thing for school. You go to school and they have the end of term in mind. We had forms, first form, second form, third form, fourth form. That's how we did school. And so when you got into whatever your class was, all your classes, now you know what you're going to be doing for the year. You have a curriculum. It is the end. And then what do? Follow through until the end has been matched. We always live from the end, which means we know what we want to experience. We know the effect that we want to have. Then you go to a realtor. And what do they ask you? What type of dwelling are you looking for? And what do you say? Do you say, I don't know? Or do you say, well, I'm looking for a condo or a townhouse condo complex or a single family home with a garage, attached or detached, a bungalow? You are at the end. You are telling the realtor what you want to experience in your home. So what do? Once you give the realtor that information, they put those parameters into the search, and it comes back with all of the things that are similar or match what you want to live in. But you had to paint the picture first. It was the end result. You gotta make dinner. I don't know what I feel like eating. So you toss ideas back and forth until one of them strikes you and you say, oh, I'm going to eat that for dinner. You have lived from the end. Then you cook it. You follow through naturally with whatever that image of what you want to make is. So in essence, what you've done, you have manifested the image of that meal from your mind to your plate. You knew exactly what action to take. So why then do we struggle? Because we look at manifestation as something separate, something to force, or something that, oh, I must accomplish. You will always accomplish it, right? If your garage is a mess, I know at least what I do, which is what we naturally do. We either stand in front of the garage because you can see it, you see it for what it is, and then you begin to see it for what you want it to be. It's like your laundry. You see it for what it is, which is a bundle of clothes to fold. But you see it for what you want it to be. Everything in its place. This is how we live our lives naturally. When you are speaking with yourself, you're mumbling to yourself. That conversation you're having is based upon how you feel, how you see yourself. The tone of the conversation that you're having in your mind's eye tells you what you're doing, tells you what you're seeing from the end. Before you get to work, you have already had a conversation in your mind's eye with whoever you're having it with while you're at work. You've already done it. So that now when you go to work, there it is. You travel on a plane, a train, automobile, and you travel. Well, how do you travel? From the point of your destination. You know where you want to end up. I'll say it again. You know where you want to end up. We live from the end at all times. So you know where you want to end up and you take the path to get there. We always live from the end and then we take the path to get there. It's usually the path of least resistance, to be honest. Nature does not do more than she needs to do, nor does she do less than she needs to do. Right? We always live from the end. When you book your flight, it says to you, where are you going? Well, is that not your destination? Is the destination not the end? You don't say, well, first, I want to pass through here, and I want to pass through here. No, 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 no. Where do you want to end up? When you choose where you want to end up, the path opens up towards it. Think about it for a moment. If you don't know what route you're taking to your destination, it's all right. You must choose the destination, which will show you the route to take. I mean, look at your GPS. You have to give it a destination. You have to give it an end so that the route can open up. So if you do not make a choice, if you are indecisive, well, they're going to be wandering. That's what that story in the Bible, when they were wandering in the desert. Wandering in the desert because nobody made a decision. How do you know they didn't make a decision? We thought they did. We thought that they were on their way to Canaan, the land of milk and honey. No, they spent more time with their focus complaining about what they had left behind in Egypt. That's where their attention was. And because their attention was there due to their complaining, because it's a story that you can apply to your life. If you say, I've been in the desert wandering, it means you have to make a decision with what you want to accomplish in your life. And the how will unfold on its own. It doesn't need you to unfold it because that's not the way. Trying to figure out the how of the situation is trying to break the law. And you can't break the law. The law is immutable. So what are you going to do? You're going to make a decision. But what if I'm wrong? How do you know? You are the one making the decision. So that's what makes it right for you at that time. It's like when you say, oh, I feel like eating pizza. Oh, I feel like seafood. And you'll realize that, wait. Maybe I don't want. What do? You sift it out and you sift it out until you make up your mind. And then that's when you'll decide which restaurant to go to. But to end up at the restaurant and not know what you want, are you in the right place? You don't know. You don't know. So you see, we live from the end, naturally. So if you pay attention, you'll realize if you take the same bus every day, it means you're going to take the same route every day, unless, of course, there's a construction detour. Unless, of course, there's a construction detour. But if you look at real life, like how you live with traffic, and you say, ooh, I'm going to here, this destination. My daddy always said that all roads lead to home. But home is your destination, right? We live from the end, naturally. When you choose a partner, you choose a relationship, how did you choose it? You chose it based upon what you were looking for. You choose your relationship based upon what you are looking to experience in that relationship. So if you meet somebody and you say, I don't really want anything serious at the moment. I just want a little bit of a plaything. You've defined what you're looking for. So now, how does that unfold? Then you're going to meet those types of people. It's as simple as that. We do it all the time. When you are choosing your child's daycare or choosing your child's school, you choose it based upon how you want that child to learn. Are you going to choose a Montessori? Are you going to choose public, private, Catholic? What are you going to choose? Well, that depends on how you want the child to learn. Are you going to do French or Spanish immersion? Well, that depends on how you want the child to learn. You and I always make our decisions based upon the end result. I just looked at my screen and it was buffering. So perhaps I was in the matrix for a little bit there, fan base, I don't know. But we always make our decisions based upon the end. If you say, because you got friends or whatever, you say, "Ooh, we're going to go out tonight." But I can't handle this one person. You can't handle this one person in the group. So then you sit there and you decide what you want to do because of that one person. So you may end up going or you may end up not telling them, but you made that decision. I don't want to be where they are. So then you acted in the way to bring about not having to hang out with them. We are always living from the end naturally. So, what determines the end? Your mental attitude, your mental mood determines the end that you will choose. What are you in the mood for? And then that's what you'll choose. Think about that for a moment. We are always living from the end. And you notice how we don't live from the end um, by force. We live from the end by what? Being deliberate and practicing. But we also live from the end of how? Through knowing. You know what you want to experience. And when you live from the end, the pathway opens so you can experience that thing that you've defined. Begin to think about all of the ways you live from the end. So now if you say, I am dealing with anxiety, I can't leave my house. So what do? You stay in the house. Because that's what you chose to do. You said, I'm going to stay in the house. I can't handle being outside. It throws me into a panic. So you stay inside because that's what you want to do. Everything we do, we live from the end naturally. We always see the end first. And then it's not even that you work your way backwards. You don't. You're not working your way backwards or forwards. You're not working your way backwards or forwards to bring about the end. You are simply projecting the image. It's polarity. Look at the motion of polarity. It is the motion. It's all a pendulum, really. It's just all a pendulum. So it's this swing, this movement, this ebb and flow, ebb and flow. But that ebb and flow is what projects the image outward. We're not creating anything, we're just projecting the image outward. And we follow the projection as it unfolds. It is what we do, naturally. Ponder that. We do it all the time because it is the only way to do it. One cannot violate law, universal law, not man's law. You see, we can circumvent man's law, but we cannot do so with universal law. Universal law is very straightforward. It is what it is. Every cause has its effect, and every effect has its cause. That is not going to change. So tonight, or should I say, it's so dark outside and it's night, but it's daytime. As you go out into the world, recognize that you're living from the end. You have made a choice. And now everything you do, every action you take, fulfills the choice that you have made. This is where I say that we know, which is the principle of mentalism. The all is mind. The universe is mental. The universe is a mental creation. And it begins at the end, which would mean the end is the beginning. Oh, the beginning is the end. Well, how? You start at the end. You have an image in your mind's eye. You know, some people say, well, I can't visualize because you forcing. That's why you can't visualize. We only visualize. Shoot. How so? How is it that we only visualize? Well, we see it. Now, we have different senses, okay? Eyes, ears, nose. We taste, we touch. Yes, we have senses. You, chances are, have a sense that is stronger than the others. And the sense that is strongest will always lead you back to the visual image. So you might hear your favorite song and you will do what? Flash right back to why that is your favorite song. You could think of a person and you will flash back to why you either like or dislike that person. We only deal with images, you know. Look at it and you'll see for yourself. because it's the principle of correspondence. As within, so without. As above, so below. And perhaps, because a hypothesis is a theory you can test, we tend to look at the astrological signs as something that dictated or dictates what we are. I'm going to say this part real slow because this is a hypothesis I'm testing because of the principle of correspondence. Sometimes we think, oh, we say, well, I'm a Pisces. Oh, I'm a this. And then some people will say, well, that's witchcraft, blah, blah, blah. But as above, so below. As above, so below. Did the stars dictate you or did you dictate the stars? It was simultaneous. As above, so below. They're not separate from each other. It's not something that you look at and you say, this is going to tell me who I am. It doesn't tell you who you are. It shows you what you are. And that's why it's not something that one believes in. It's something that one observes. As above, so below. People think that tarot is telling them who they are. When in actuality, you're the one projecting who you are, what you are into the cards. They don't have power on their own. You're telling them. So this is why when I hear people say, well, I'll consult the cards. Speaking of cards, if you check out my link tree, they're there. What's the difference with these ones? They remind you of who you are. How so? By giving you the principles every single day. You could pull whatever you want from that deck, and all that's in there, there's no opinion in there. There's just law in there. The principle of vibration tells us that everything moves. And where is it moving to? Where is it moving from? It's moving from where you are towards who you say you are becoming. So it is, I like when Neville Goddard says, everybody is you pushed out. You see, a lot of people don't get that part. It is the principle of correspondence. Everybody is you pushed out. As within, so without. So when we encounter things and encounter people, they are projections. But you see, the part we don't always get, the part we don't always understand, comprehend, is that, how do I say it? We're matching the mood. We're matching the mood. You generated that end result. You generated that decision, the principle of gender to generate, right? Masculine is to come up with it, to generate it. Feminine is to embody it. This is why there's masculine within feminine and feminine within masculine. Because they're not separate. They're not opposites. They're just one movement. Polarity, if you will. Moving through a stage of generation. A stage from seed to fruit. We are always generating that movement is all because nothing stands still. Oh my God, I hope you're feeling and grasping what I'm saying to you today. To understand that we always live from the end. We see within our mind's eye, and then we embody. We see within our mind's eye, and then we embody. We embody it. So everything that we do comes from the end result that we've done. And what is the end result? The choice. The choice is the end. It is the final image, the pattern, the blueprint. And so then it's like your 3D printer. How do you get your 3D printer to work? Give it the image you want it to recreate. That is from the end. You're giving it the image you want it to recreate, to embody, which means you and I get to choose. And we choose based upon the mood. Look at your life, because this is nothing that you have to believe in. Just look at your life. Go back through the Rolodex of your experiences. How many times have you said, ugh, I'm so not in the mood for that? And when you say you're not in the mood for it, what do? You don't do that. So we are always living from the end. And the end, the end, see, this is what I mean. If you can see the image in your mind's eye. Imagine, if you will, the infinity symbol. You know, the number 8 laying on its side. Imagine. See if you can see it. It's just back and forth, back and forth. It's just, or is it round and round? It copies itself every single time by doing what? The principle of correspondence. As within, so without. This is why, like, do you understand what I'm saying? The movement, because everything moves, nothing stands still, which would tell us we are always in a mood and we're always changing that mood accordingly. And as you change the mood, your choices change to match the mood. Look through your life and you're going to see it for yourself. You chose that relationship from a particular mood. What is that mood? Did you choose it from a place of, well, I might as well settle. I'm not getting any younger. I don't want to be alone. Or did you say, I really do enjoy life and I would love to experience life with someone who enjoys it as much as I do, if not more. And we get to do all these fun things together, go places, try these foods, blah, blah, blah. Or are you making a choice of, I had them, I want them back? Desperation? Where are you making that choice from? Where you make the choice from is where you will end up. As within, so without. You are constantly recreating yourself over and over again. Well, you might not believe me. Well, here's something. You've come upon a fruit tree, have you not? When you save seeds, what are you doing? Planting that plant again, over and over Every year, my apple tree gives me apples. Every year. It's a cycle. People say, but history keeps repeating itself because the pattern. If you don't want corn this year, plant beets instead because you don't want corn. This is how you quote unquote break a pattern. You just do something different. So when you look at your life and you say, I keep doing the same thing all the time. Well, how do you change? You have to make a different choice, or you will remain doing the same thing you've always done, which means you have not examined your mental mood or mental attitude, because that is the point of origin. It is the principle of mentalism. So you see, we always live from the end. What car do you want to drive? I did this way back in the day, 2008. And I'll always remember it. Because when I look back on it now with through the lens of the principles, I see exactly what I did. I wanted exactly what I had, meaning I wanted to do the same thing. I had a particular type of car, a particular size, and I said, this is what I want. I want to do the same thing I'm doing now. Sure enough, it was different make and model of car, same size. It was exactly what I wanted. Sometimes you don't, what's the word I want to put in here? When the end result is satisfied, you feel it, because we always go towards satisfaction. Well, that's what the end does. When you have successfully accomplished the end result, like made your way to it, there is satisfaction. How do you know that there's always satisfaction at the end? We always say, you sure do. But if it isn't satisfaction, what happens? Still keep looking. That's what we do, naturally. So today, as we go out into the world, what is the choice that you're going to make? The choice you make is dependent upon the mood that you occupy. This is not my feelings. It's not my opinion. It is what we do. It is our nature to do it. It is law. Watch it and see. But Angela, just the sheer fact of you telling me to watch it, if I see it, isn't that just because you told me to? Oh, I love that question so much. No, no, because it is how all 8 billion people function. Good, bad, or indifferent, we live from the end. Because it is law. And because we don't know that we live from the end, but others do, right? They have an end in mind. and they will follow the pathway, which means you and I are going to do what their end is. Let me lean in for this one and then I'll go. Let me say it plain as day. There is an end, an effect. Okay? And we keep talking about it all the time. We keep, as people, we keep arguing political things. But what we do not see is the effect. We do not see the effect. We don't see the end result. We just see, because we think we have, I keep telling you, everything is a choice. But politically, you don't have one. Oh, did you go out and choose those people, or were you shown the choices? Were you shown the options to choose from? So if you are shown the options to choose from, you did not make the choice. Let me give you an example. You want your child to go to bed. You tell them you can go to bed at 8 or you can go to bed at 9. The child chooses 9 o'clock because 9 o'clock is later and they can stay up a little bit longer. But do they not go to bed? Did they make the choice? Or did they choose from the suggestions offered based upon whose effect? Yours. You're the one who said, I need this child to go to bed. And here's its bedtime. So instead of arguing and forcing the child to go to bed, don't do that. Offer suggestions. This is how one gets compliance. And here now the child thinks, ooh, I'm making a choice. No, you didn't make a choice. You just did what? You chose from the suggestions offered. Where am I going with this one? I'm showing you that we always live from the end, but it better be your end. Why? Because on a daily basis, we are bombarded with what? Images. And those images shape the choices that we make. The images shape the choices that we make. Those images put us in a mood. Pay attention and you will see it everywhere around you. It puts us in a mood. And then what do? We act according to the mood. I started this morning with self, meaning how you and I do it as single things, single people, units. But then I'm showing you how it is done en masse. I'm showing you how it is done en masse worldwide to each and every human simultaneously. This is why all the news is the same. Because everybody must be told the same thing because they're wanting to bring about an effect. So what are you and I going to do? Because sometimes we feel helpless when we look out into the world and we say, well, we can't change the trajectory of the world. That's what we say sometimes. We can't change the trajectory of the world. Yeah, of course we can. But it has to start. You know, we heard it. I'm talking to the man in the mirror. That's where it starts. It has to start with one person. Just one. Just one. So today, when you go through the day, pay attention. What images are you allowing to put you in a mood? What images are you allowing to put you in a mood? Because you know the mood is how you're going to act, how you're going to behave. And you wonder why certain people are easily riled up. Because they know the effects that bring about the causes. All I have to say is Rodney King, and you'll know what I'm talking about. I could say Auschwitz, and you know what I'm talking about. I could say Tiananmen Square. All of these are pivotal things that have been done to bring about certain effects, to influence. Some would say, but Angela, isn't that a conspiracy theory? Oh, now, I don't have time to play. I'm telling you where the law is and how it is used. You can either use the law to change your life, thereby, think about it. Do you want to go through life living desperately? Well, then you will constantly be doing desperate things. So use the law to ease your desperation because you know that, wait, what mood do I want to be in here? Do I want to be desperate? No. So what do I want? Ease, calm. So you find a mood that is ease and that is calm, and now you will make a decision based on that. Now, if 10 people did that, would we have such anger outside in the world? Or would we be a lot more calm? Let me check the chat on Fanbase, and it's got tumbleweeds. So let's welcome everyone, and then we're going to go because I just want you to see what you're doing in your daily life. We live from the end. We always have that idea of who and what we want to become. We do. And the moment you muddy it with, I don't know, I'm scared, now the image begins to fade. When all you and I get to do is to hold the image just like the 3D printer. Hold the image. Because the image brings about its own unfolding. It doesn't need you to unfold, it just needs you to hold it. This is why when scripture says, stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Hello. Salvation, the thing that saves you. So it is your mood. If you have a mood of desperation, then a mood of calm will be your savior. It'll save you from desperation. But you've got to hold it. How do you hold it? Keep your attention on it. And do what? Experience in imagination what you'd be doing in reality if you were the man or the woman you wanted to be. That's how you hold it. You rehearse that thing that you'd be doing. That shows you. It shows you the outcome. So then, do you have to worry? Or just hold fast to the outcome because you know the outcome is inevitable? The seamstress does not have to fret. She already knows what the dress looks like, so she just goes to find the colors and the thread. And she cuts out the pattern. Boom, it is done. I will always marvel at the woman who made her wedding dress out of crochet. She crocheted her wedding dress. Hello? She crocheted it and built it. She didn't have a pattern per se cut out. She saw it in her mind's eye first, and then every single moment she was making the pattern that matched in her mind's eye. So she was pushing it out of herself, giving birth to it then. Yet you think we're somehow different. We all do that. She just remained faithful until the dress was done. But you and I, sometimes we throw in the towel and say, it's taking too long, thereby letting go of the image. Then what pattern will you follow? Hmm. Who's here on YouTube? You didn't make yourselves known in the chat, but I say hello. And I wonder how my beautiful Miss Liza is doing today. Mm. Hello, Liza. Because you're normally here. The better man is normally there too, in these YouTube streets. I don't see you, but that's okay. Oh, Twitter, hello. Yoda Green. It's symmetric. Hey, girl. I haven't said your name in a couple of weeks there. It's good to see you. It sure is. Fanbase. Oh, who's scrolling? I'm scrolling. Miss Miriam. Miss McQueen. I see you. Ray Ray. Moon and Dolphin Duck. Big Mike. And my sweet Casey. I see you all. As you go through the day today, my beautiful friends, watch. Do what Mystical says. Watch yourself. Show me what you're working with. You have to watch yourself so you can see what mood you are working with. And when you see the mood you are working with, you will know exactly how you're going to behave because nothing is a surprise. You see it. And when you see it, what do you say? Oh my God, what a coincidence. It's not a coincidence, my sweet. What was in showed itself on the outside. Oh, well, a little bit is still sleeping, but I will see y'all's on the morrow. Ugh, YouTube says I've been talking for 51 minutes. Damn it. I'll see you tomorrow, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Fanbase. I'll see y'all. But I want you to see for yourself what you're doing and what's being done so that when you can see it, you know how to act. Um, ah, well, I am glad, Miss Miriam, that it has helped your mood. I sure am. See, and now you will act differently because of the mood. It is nice, and we do it naturally. By golly, I do love you. Yes, Miss Liza, you are welcome. Countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Much love. Twitter, it's symmetric. Much love. Much love to you, my dearest Liza. Much love to you.